everyone, good evening. Welcoming you once again in today's live talk, our Sunday regular live talk on career growth series, wherein we talk about topics which are important to your career growth. My name is 𝗕𝗂𝗏𝗀 I'm an author, an ICF certified coach. My coaching is basically for young executives, young professionals, helping them with tools and techniques to grow in their career. As a part of that effort, every Sunday, oh yes, almost every Sunday, I come live before all of you and pick up a topic which can be very important and critical for your career success in whatever profession you are in. So कैसे हो आप सब लोग? जैसे कि हमेशा मैं आप सबसे शेयर करता हूं कि इनफैक्ट you may go ahead and share any comment, any suggestion, any inputs that you have on the topics that we discuss. आप comment section में जाके उसके बारे में टाइप करके लिख सकते हो कि on this topic, this is what I think or this has been my experience. अगर आप शेयर करोगे then I think आपके जरिए there are other people who will actually able to learn something new today. So with that, we will start today's session. आज का सेशन शुरू करने से पहले मैं आप लोगों को just I'll be asking two questions which will bring us closer to the topic of today's discussion. So the first question that I do have is, if you're a young professional, would you like to break into a new industry and achieve your career goals? जब हम लोग breaking into a new industry बोलते हैं, सुनने में कैसा लगता है, right? So इसका सही मतलब ऐसा break करके नहीं, but then the meaning of this particular breaking into a new industry means जो आपका industry नहीं है, आप एक particular industry में काम करते हो और you have experience of working in a particular industry and then suddenly you want to move into another industry. बहुत सारे कारण हो सकते हैं उसके. And are you someone who is actually right now thinking of getting into that particular industry, a new industry as such, and वहां पे आप अपना career बनाना चाहते हो? Hey, hi Subodh, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for your comment. Well, yeah, so that's the first question that I had, that are you someone who is actually looking for getting into a new industry? Or if you are someone, if you are that person who is actually thinking of getting into a new industry, do you feel overwhelmed? अरे बहुत difficult है, बहुत मुश्किल होगा, बहुत सारा काम करना पड़ता है to get into a new industry. It's not a cakewalk. Oh, I know that it's not a cakewalk. But do you have this kind of a feeling? If yes, then obviously today you are our guest of interest, which means that today we are going to talk about this very particular topic. So what exactly we are going to talk about today? आज हम लोग बात करेंगे 5 strategies for breaking into a new industry and create your career in that new industry. What are those 5 strategies? वो 5 strategy क्या होंगे जिसको यूज करके आप एक नई इंडस्ट्री में एंट्री कर सकते हो एंड नई इंडस्ट्री में आप अपना कैरियर बना सकते हो. नाउ एज आई सेड, सबसे पहले जो हमारे दिमाग में ये पर्टिकुलर क्वेश्चन आता है, ये सवाल आता है कि ब्रेकिंग इनटू ए न्यू इंडस्ट्री का मतलब है क्या? So we will first of all try to answer this basic question, that what is the meaning of breaking into a particular industry? Now, I'll give you 3 things to define what is the meaning of breaking into a new industry. जिसमें से सबसे पहला जो definition का point आता है वो है establishing a foothold in the industry. एक नया इंडस्ट्री में एंट्री लेना, इसका मतलब क्या होता है? जो पहला चीज होता है वो होता है एक नए इंडस्ट्री में आप अपना स्ट्रॉन्ग फुट लेके एंट्री लेना. सो यू आर एस्टेब्लिशिंग योर फुट होल्ड इनटू दैट न्यू इंडस्ट्री. So that would mean breaking into that new industry. The second part of this definition is obviously overcoming entry barriers. क्या होता है कि कोई भी नई इंडस्ट्री में आप अगर जाना चाहते हो from the current industry, there are a lot of entry restrictions, entry barriers. Can you give me one example? Well, I can give you one example from my own past experience. Once upon a time, I wanted to get into pharma industry because I found that there is something exciting in that industry. I like that industry. I used to like that industry. तो मैं फार्मा इंडस्ट्री में एंट्री लेना चाहता था. तो मेरे लिए जो सबसे बड़ा एंट्री रेस्ट्रिक्शन था वो ये था कि पहले I did not have any experience of pharma. So that was the entry barrier for me to step into the pharma industry. क्या आपका ऐसा कोई एक्सपीरियंस है wherein you have found this kind of entry barriers when you wanted to move into a new industry? Okay, we have one more comment. Although I don't know the name of this gentleman, welcome to you. So those are the two things. Now the third thing, as a part of defining what do you mean by getting into a new industry. So the third thing is achieving success in that industry. So when we talk about getting into a new industry or breaking into a new industry, so these are the three parts of the definition. What is the meaning of breaking into that industry? उस इंडस्ट्री में अंदर जाने का डेफिनेशन क्या होता है? हम लोगों ने बात किया सबसे पहले, it is actually establishing a strong foothold in that industry. Second चीज जो हम लोगों ने बात किया, we said that overcoming any kind of entry barrier that is there in that industry. And the third point that we discussed is achieving career success in that industry. अगर ये तीनों चीज होता है, then हम लोग बोलते हैं कि successfully you have broken into another new industry and created your career, right? So that's the definition part of it. Now, आप बोलोगे चलो मुझे नई इंडस्ट्री में जाना क्यों है? मुझे जाना ही नहीं है, चलो मैं तो खुश हूँ अपनी जगह. I'm right now not thinking about getting into any other industry. For example, I'm working in pharma industry for the last 10 years, 12 years, etc. And मुझे कोई शौक नहीं है नया इंडस्ट्री में जाने का, तो मैं क्यों जाऊँ? I'm not interested in this. So that brings us to the point that what are the benefits of getting into a new industry? नई इंडस्ट्री में जाने के फायदे क्या क्या है? So friends, नई इंडस्ट्री में जाने के कुछ फायदे जरूर है, फायदे हैं. And what are those benefits? Again, let me share 3 benefits when you get into a new industry. These 3 benefits, or rather 5, well, 2 bonus reasons are also there. So these 5 reasons are this that are shown in your screen. It gives you access to new opportunities. हो सकता है आपकी इंडस्ट्री में right now opportunities नहीं है because of market issues, because of economical reasons, because that particular industry is not doing good. So आपको opportunity के लिए नए इंडस्ट्री में मूव करना पड़ सकता है. That can be one of the reason. The second reason we mentioned there that you want to develop your career. Career development के लिए ये बहुत ही जरूरी है कि आप experience अलग अलग तरीके के experience develop करो. You take different types of experiences. That will be possible when you get into a new industry and learn something new. Your professional growth, obviously, as a professional, if you are as a salesperson or you are an HR professional, as a professional, you grow when you have experiences of different industries, for sure. Competitive edge. So whenever you are appearing for interview and there are so many other candidates, if you are the person who has got experience of different industries, you will be getting edge over the other people who are also there as a part of the interview, right? So that's why that is important. And career fulfillment. You can fulfill your career aspirations, your career goals, कि मुझे इस मुकाम तक पहुंचना है अगले 3 साल में, 5 साल में, 6 साल में. So when you move from one industry to another industry, it actually gives you that particular opportunity. And when you keep on gaining that experience of different industries, you become a very valuable person in the industry. अच्छा, इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि आप एक इंडस्ट्री में 6 महीने रहो, दूसरी इंडस्ट्री में 3 महीने रहो, तीसरी इंडस्ट्री में 3 महीने रहो. No, it's not like that. It's actually spending sufficient amount of time in understanding that industry, having an in-depth knowledge and understanding of the industry, so that you have gained certain knowledge which you'll be able to utilize in adding value to the next organization you're planning to go, or in the current organization for a higher role. You will be able to utilize those experiences. उसी का मतलब होता है gaining experience by moving from industry to industry. Now, coming to the main topic of today's discussion, we are talking about 5 strategies for breaking into a new industry. आपको पता चल गया अभी कि breaking into industry का मतलब क्या होता है. आपको ये भी पता चल गया that why it is beneficial for you to move into a new industry. You have understood that. Now the question comes, अच्छा चलो समझ तो गए, how do I move into a new industry? वो मेरे को बताओ. So today we'll be talking about 5 strategies of getting into a new industry. Before that, do I see a comment? Yes, Subodh. Yeah, in-depth knowledge is required. Yes, you are right. Thank you for your comment. In-depth knowledge is obviously required if you really want to grow in your career. Simple ऊपर ऊपर का knowledge काम में नहीं आता है दोस्तों. बहुत लोग सोचते हैं चलो मेरा तो एक्सपीरियंस बहुत है, 10 साल का एक्सपीरियंस हो गया, मैंने 10 कंपनी में काम किया 10 साल में. वो एक्सपीरियंस ऑन पेन एंड पेपर, but do you have in-depth knowledge of the different industries, different ways of doing work in those industries? अगर वो है तभी you have a valuable experience so that you can utilize that to add value into your new role or a new organization that you are planning to move into. So coming back to the point is we are talking about 5 strategies for breaking into a new industry. The first one of that strategy, yes, identify the industry and the job roles of interest. ये सबसे पहले तो obviously होगा, अरे अलग इंडस्ट्री में जाना है, कौन सा इंडस्ट्री, पहले वो तो जान लो, आपका इंटरेस्ट कौन सा इंडस्ट्री में है. So if you're in pharma industry already, you might look to move into, say, chemical industry, say, food industry, so on and so forth. So you need to think of कि मेरे को कौन सा इंडस्ट्री में जाना है, वो पहले आइडेंटिफाई करना है आपको, and उस इंडस्ट्री में what kind of job roles you are interested in. And ये करने के लिए आप जो सब स्ट्रेटजी या क्या क्या चीज कर सकते हो, सबसे पहले you need to do some research. रिसर्च के अलग अलग तरीके होते हैं. यू कैन गो टू गूगल बाबा, राइट, द गुरु गूगल, एंड गूगल को पूछ सकते हो क्या क्या इंडस्ट्रीज अवेलेबल है. Obviously there are other ways of doing your research also. So I will suggest the best way of doing research is actually talk to experts, talk to your peers, talk to your friends and family members who have got that experience of different industries. Specifically अगर आपको जो इंडस्ट्री में इंटरेस्ट है, 3-4 इंडस्ट्री ऐसे हो सकता है जो आपकी इंटरेस्ट है, आप उसमें से डिसाइड करना चाहते हो कौन सा इंडस्ट्री में रियली अच्छा होगा. सो टॉक टू सम एक्सपर्ट्स. What happens when we actually choose an industry to create a career? कभी कभी at a particular period of time हो सकता है your chosen industry is not doing good, so it might not be the best time to get into that particular industry. So when you talk to the experts, then they will be able to guide you properly. So that's very important. The second part under identifying the industry is from your side also you need to assess your own skills and interest कि आपके कौन से skills हैं, वो skills उस industry में fit होते हैं क्या. So that's very important, right? Now you are for example, say you are a chemical engineer, okay, आपको chemistry के बारे में बहुत अच्छी तरह से पता है, but the industry that you are planning to work for example, that industry is a media industry, आपको media industry में काम करना है. Now the question is, आपका chemical engineering का knowledge और जो skill sets हैं, will it fit into that media industry? That is something you need to ask. Well, I'm not saying anything here. So you need to ask that, you need to assess that the requirement of the skill that is needed in that particular industry, और वो skill आपके पास है क्या, आपके पास कौन सा skill है, वो skill इस industry के requirement के साथ match होते हैं क्या. So that's the thing that you need to check. And the third thing you need to check here is, obviously जब आपने 3-4 industries सोच लिए, then out of those 2-3 industries I would like to finally work on either this one or this one. Yeah, so narrow down your search that either of these 2 industries I'll be interested in. So that's the first point wherein we are talking about identify the industry type and decide the type of job role that you'll be interested in. The second part of the strategy now. Well, on the first part, if you have any comment, you have any experience, please go ahead and put it in the comment section. The second part of the strategy talks about building that relevant skill and gain practical knowledge or practical experience. So building that particular skill, उस industry में जो specific skill चाहिए, हो सकता है that particular skill you do have, but then to a certain extent only. जो 100% चाहिए, आपके पास 40% वो skill है. अगर है, then बैलेंस 60% को डेवलप करने के लिए अभी से काम चालू कर दीजिए. Start working on that. For example, you want to move into say IT industry. IT industry is very specific industry, right? जिसमें knowledge based activities ज़्यादा होते हैं. Now in an IT industry, if you want to get into, आपको वो IT particular knowledge that you need to gain. You might be knowing that technical part of IT to a certain extent, but उसमें आपको कोशिश करना चाहिए किस तरह से I can develop my mastery on this. And if possible, try to get some practical experience. Now, practical experience किस तरह से हो सकता है? Possibly in your current organization, you can actually ask for opportunity to work on a project. Oh yes, that's the best option of gaining experience. उसमें पैसा नहीं लगता, बिना पैसे के हो जाता है. नंबर वन. नंबर टू, अपॉर्चुनिटीज मिलने के चांसेस ज्यादा है. आप अगर बाहर जाके इफ यू आस्क एनी कंपनी दैट will you actually allow me to work for 2 weeks here, I want to gain experience, कोई देगा क्या? नहीं देगा, right? So the best option always in your own company, if you want to gain experience in a particular field, particular skill set, then ask the organization to get you involved in a project. It'll talk about two things. Number one, you are actually getting an experience opportunity in the same organization. Number two, organization will view it positively, that this is one person who is actually interested to learn. So both way it works. Try that out. So first thing that you can do here is obviously कौन से वो स्किल है जो आपको डेवलप करना है, वो आपको सर्च करना है, कंफर्म करना है, आइडेंटिफाई करने हैं. एंड द सेकंड थिंग दैट यू नीड टू डू, टेक दोस कोर्सेज. समटाइम्स आउटसाइड कोर्सेज बहुत सारे मिल सकते हैं आपको. सो आप वो कोर्स ले लीजिए, कोर्स कर लीजिए और अपना नॉलेज गेन कीजिए उसके ऊपर. If possible, participate in some training sessions, outside training sessions that are happening, right? Also, there's a comment here. So his question is, if someone acquires skills of the industry but not having certificate or job role experience in that particular industry, then what is the main criteria to fit into that industry? As you feel that you can make a difference in that industry with no relevant experience but having in-depth knowledge. Fantastic question, Subodh. Fantastic question. So Subodh, this question is basically, आप एक नई इंडस्ट्री में जाना चाहते हो एंड आपने स्किल्स भी एक्वायर कर लिए, बट आपके पास सर्टिफिकेट नहीं है और जॉब एक्सपीरियंस नहीं है. क्या कोई आपको अपॉर्चुनिटी देगा उस सिचुएशन में? दैट इज दिस क्वेश्चन. नाउ इट मे बी डिफरेंट फ्रॉम सिचुएशन टू सिचुएशन. देयर इज नो स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड आंसर हियर कि यस आपको अपॉर्चुनिटी मिल ही जाएंगे 100%. It can depend on multiple factors. Certain roles require your certification. It's very important. For example, in IT, I remember many years back, I wanted to get into IT actually. I was interested in that industry. And when I started looking for opportunities, what I realized, I wanted to get into ERP solutions. I understood that to get into ERP solution, I need to have a certification. That ERP mastery, ERP skill certification is a mandatory requirement, which is an entry requirement. So for that type of a job, it was not possible for me simply telling those interviewers saying that I know this activity, although I don't have that certificate. So that was the entry requirement of that role in that industry, IT. Now, it is not true everywhere. For example, say a person who has actually worked in, say, HR department of a particular organization. And that person is saying that I would like to get into a consultancy industry, HR consultancy industry. Now, to a certain extent, these two positions are similar. The industry may be different. A person could have been working in HR department of, say, a sales organization of a manufacturing company. From that, the person interested to move into consultancy, HR consultancy organization. Even though the industry is different, the role and the skills are similar. So in this particular example, I'm sure a certificate will not become a barrier for your entry in that new industry. So to cut it short here, depending on the nature of the role and the industry, in certain cases, a certification may be a mandatory requirement, and in other cases, certificate may not be a mandatory requirement. Well, experience, yes, that may be required. And for that experience, as we discussed, if you're not getting an opportunity outside, try to get that experience opportunity within your same organization. Okay. Thank you so much, Subodh, for asking that question. So getting back into the third point here is gain practical experience. That's what we are talking about. By gaining practical experience, meaning actually doing that work hands on. आप एक्चुअली आपने किया वो एक्टिविटी, उसका एक्सपीरियंस कर लीजिए. अगर नहीं होता एक्सपीरियंस तो इट माइट बी डिफिकल्ट टू टॉक अबाउट दैट पॉइंट ड्यूरिंग योर इंटरव्यू ऑल्सो, राइट. आपको जब पूछा जाएगा, आप बुकिश नॉलेज बता नहीं सकते इंटरव्यू में. बुकिश नॉलेज के ऊपर बेस करके इंटरव्यू क्रैक करना मुश्किल होता है बियॉन्ड अ सर्टेन लेवल. एंट्री लेवल ठीक है, समझ गया. यू आर अ फ्रेशर, यू आर looking for a new job, then it is okay. But if you already have experience of 4 years, 5 years, then you want to move into, it is very important that you have a practical experience of getting that job or doing that job. That brings us to the third point. The third point, or the part of the strategy, is networking. Wow, so very important point. And building relationship with the industry professionals. This is, I'll say, the most important part of breaking into a new industry. Now, how you can do this? Number one, you can attend certain industry events. मान लीजिए जिस इंडस्ट्री में आप एंट्री लेना चाहते हो, उस इंडस्ट्री के फ्री इवेंट्स हो रहे हैं या सेमिनार्स हो रहे हैं. Go ahead and participate in those events. Those events will be an opportunity to network with the right people from that industry. So take that opportunity, take that benefit of meeting industry people. The second thing that you can do here is join some professional organization. There are certain government bodies or private organization, private bodies are there, groups, clubs kind of things are there, which are very, very industry specific. Try to join these professional bodies or professional organizations. उसमें आप उस इंडस्ट्री के कुछ दिग्गज लोगों के साथ मिलने का आपको मौका मिलेगा और उससे आप नेटवर्किंग कर सकते हो, अपना नेटवर्किंग अच्छी तरह से बना सकते हो. So that's the second thing you can do. The third thing that you can do here is, well, yes, I'm saying that utilize social media. अच्छा, social media आपके ऊपर है, आप किस तरह से यूज करते हो. Social media, obviously, if you don't use it for value creation and productivity, it may actually disrupt your life, right? Many people say that social media is bad. In my opinion, nothing is bad. It depends on how you utilize it. उस तरह से सब कुछ बैड हो सकता है. दोस्तों के साथ बाहर गप्पे लड़ाना भी बैड हो सकता है, डिपेंडिंग ऑन आप कितना टाइम गप्पे लड़ाते हो. सारा दिन अगर दोस्तों के साथ मिलते हो, गप्पे लड़ाते हो, इवन दैट इज बैड. So that way, even in social media also, you can actually utilize it for connecting with some industry professionals. You can go into LinkedIn, connect with industry professionals through that social media platform, and try to learn from them and create a networking with them. That will help you to get into that industry. So Subodh has a comment here. Yes, building relationship is the most important factor. So you attended various seminars but confused about the various social media platform for networking. Isn't it full of disruption? Well, yes, as I said, I mean, it is obviously up to you how you utilize. And there are, it's like a sea, it's like an ocean, right? बहुत कुछ है, उसमें से आपको पिक एंड चूज करने पड़ेंगे कौन से आपके लिए फायदेमंद है. and try to delete other things. तो यहाँ पे सब कुछ है, उसमें से अच्छा बुरा चूज करना आपके ऊपर है. It is up to you to choose the good things and the bad things. So that way it is good. I think the world is like that only, right? So you select the things that you think you can get value from and spend your time into that thing. So what? It's in social media, but that's an opportunity for sure. Thank you so much for making that comment. So we are talking about that utilizing social media. The fourth part of the strategy is this, which is developing your personal brand and creating a professional online presence. Personal brand. अभी आप बहुत सारे कंपनी को देखोगे अपने ब्रांड बनाने में कितना पैसा खर्चा करते हैं, right? They use celebrities to advertise on their product, on their organization, on their brand. They spend lakhs and lakhs of rupees, huge amount of money from companies. Earned money, profit goes into that particular brand building activity. But when it comes to individuals, possibly we don't give that importance of building our own brand. This is very important for you, whether you want to get into a new industry or you want to grow in your career. Invest time in building a brand. In the job market, believe me, you are a product, you are a brand, and the brand value that you've created will increase the chances of your selection into a lucrative career opportunity. So invest time in building that brand and make a professional online presence. Make it professional. Understand that term, professional. Simply online presence is not going to give you any value unless and until it is professional, because your online presence, you want to utilize that for your career growth. If that is the intention for which you want to build your online presence, it has to be a professional online presence, not only an online presence as such, right? So that's where that is important. How you can do this? I have broken it into 3 parts. So you need to define your personal brand. How do you want to be called? How do you want to be addressed? How do you want people to know you? That's your brand. So select that, choose that brand for you. The second thing here you need to do is build your online presence slowly and steadily. Slowly build your online presence. If it is the social media, for example, say LinkedIn, build your presence as a person who is knowledgeable about the industry that you want to get into. Read the articles of that desired industry you want to get into. Put your comments against those articles, which will show everyone that you are gaining knowledge in that industry or you are interested in that industry. So try to do that. And that's where the third point comes, is creating content related to that industry, related to your role, desired role in that industry, related to your skill sets. So start creating content. That content creation will actually help you building your brand for that industry, and that will help you getting an opportunity. Now that brings us to the last and the 5th part of our strategy of breaking into a new industry. That strategy is this, which is final strategy. You need to apply for jobs and tailor your resume and cover letter specific to this industry that you want to get into. अपना resume आपके पास already होगा, उस resume को उस industry के हिसाब से rephrase कीजिए. So rephrase the resume as per the requirement of that industry. उसमें जो भी स्किल सेट्स चाहिए उस स्किल सेट्स को आपके रिज्यूमे में लिखिए, उसको चेंज कीजिए. And also prepare a cover letter. Cover letter, sometimes people actually misunderstand or don't give that much importance. Cover letter is very, very important part of putting forward your proposal for getting a job in an organization. So that's where the cover letter is very, very important. And again, 3 ways that you can do that is do a search on the job openings that are available in that particular industry using all the media options that are available. And also Those networking that you have created, we have actually talked about that. Talk to those people, ask them that whether any job opportunity is available in their company or not in that desired industry. Then tailor your resume and the cover letter. And finally, my dear friend, please take it seriously and prepare for those interviews. Before you go to the interview, prepare for it. Don't go unprepared. So friends, these are the 5 strategies that I wanted to share with you in case you want to get into a completely new industry. Again, repeating, the number 1, we talked about identify the industry and the job roles of your interest. The second thing we actually talked about is building relevant skills and gaining practical experience of that industry, of that job role. And the best way to do it is try to get into a project of a similar role in the same kind of activity in your existing organization itself. Then we talked about the third part of it. In the third part, we actually talked about the importance of networking and building relationship with people from the same industry. Then we talked about in the fourth part, developing a personal brand for you and create your online presence, which is professional. Then we talked about the final one, which is start applying for job and rephrase your resume and the cover letter. Thank you so much, Subodh. So if you found these points very, very important, thank you so much for finding that out. And yes, friends, so those are some of the strategies that I wanted to share with all of you. As I said, my intention is to assist you, help you in building your desired career. Okay, so with that, we come to the end of today's session. As I always request you, I will again make the same request that if you find this useful, please go ahead and share this talk, share this video with your friends and family members and help somebody else who can get benefited. Even a small bit of value, even a small bit of help, if it can make, please go ahead and do that. उसमें थोड़ा सा effort लगता है, 2 seconds लगता है, but I am sure your friend will be grateful to you for doing that. Thank you so much for your presence. I wish you a fantastic rest of Sunday, whatever is left, and I'll see you next week with one more fantastic topic. Thank you so much for your presence.